In previous videos, we have discussed the algae, general characteristics, then class Chlorophyce, then class Phyophyce, and lastly class Rhodophyce. General characteristics with examples we have discussed. Okay. Now we shall see the table showing different classes of algae and their main important characteristics. So this is the reason this table becomes a very important table. You can see the table now. Classes are there in one column, common name algae in another column, major pigments is in another column, the reserve food materials or stored food materials in another column, then the nature of cell wall in different column, then about flagella and their number, even the positions also recorded in another column. Lastly, the habitat of different algae recorded. Okay. Now we shall discuss each table, each column. Now the first column, it shows different classes of algae. See the table now. The first class is the class Chlorophyce. And the second is the class Phyophyce. And the third one is class Rhodophyce. Okay. Now we shall see the first one, the class Chlorophyce. The members of the class Chlorophyce, as you know, are commonly known as green algae. Okay. Why we call them green algae? It's also very important. See the next column. In the next column, the pigments present in the class Chlorophyce are recorded. The members of this class Chlorophyce contain the chlorophyll pigments. The chlorophyll pigment means chlorophyll A and B. The members of the class Chlorophyce appear green color because of the presence of chlorophyll pigment, that is chlorophyll A and chlorophyll B. Okay. Next, the reserve food material of this class is stored in the form of starch. So starch is the reserve food in the members of the class Chlorophyce. Next column, cell wall. The members of this class shows cell wall. The cell wall is made up of mainly the cellulose. Presence of cellulose chemical. Then, next one is the presence or absence of flagella or cilia. During asexual reproduction, the members of algae produces zoospores. These zoospores shows flagella. These flagellas are found at the tip, that is apical in nature. How many numbers of flagella are there? 2 to 8. They are equal in size. Okay. Lastly, now we are examining the habitat. Habitat means it is a natural home. Natural home means where the plants are naturally found growing. That is the habitat. See, the members of this class Chlorophytes commonly found growing in fresh water. Fresh water means ponds, pools, lakes, rivers, etc. Some of them also found growing in brackish water. You know what is brackish? Brackish water means the water which contains more salts. Salt. Such water is called brackish water. Say for example, one plant is there, chara. The chara is commonly found growing in brackish water. Some of them also found growing in salt water. You know, salt water means marine forums. That's all about different characteristics of the class Chlorophyceae. Now, we shall make a comparative account of Chlorophyceae with that of Phaeophyceae. The members of the class Phaeophyceae are commonly known as brown algae. Why we call them brown algae? Because in the plant body we come across the brown pigment, fucoxanthin. Why the members appear brown color? Because of the presence of brown pigment, namely fucoxanthin. In addition to this, fucoxanthin also contains chlorophyll pigment. But the chlorophyll A and C is present. In the class Chlorophyceae, chlorophyll A and B present, but in the class Phaeophyceae, chlorophyll A and C. That's all about the pigments. Okay. Next, what is the reserve food materials in this class? see the column. The reserve food material in the class Bryophytes is mannitol, laminarin. Mannitol and laminarin is stored in the cells as reserve food materials. What about in chlorophyll? It is starch. Next, if we examine the cell wall of these members, cell wall is made up of again cellulose. But in addition to the cellulose, we also find another chemical, namely algin. Algin is present. It's economically important. Then, what about the flagella? In this class Bryophytes, the flagella are only 2 in number. And these flagellas are unequal in size and laterally placed. So there is a difference of flagella of chlorophytes and flagella of Bryophytes. Then, if we examine the occurrence or the habitat, just like class chlorophytes, some of them are freshwater and others are found growing in brackish water. Many of the species are found growing in salt water. For example, sargassum, fucus, laminaria. These are found in salt water, that is sea water, or even in ocean. So that's all about the occurrence. Next, if we examine the class Rhodophytes, these are commonly known as red algae. Why we call red algae? Because of the presence of red pigment, phycoerythrin, a red pigment. In addition to the phycoerythrin, chlorophyll A and chlorophyll D is also present. That is the green pigment. But the presence of phycoerythrin is more, hence they appear red color. Example, Gracilaria, Geladium, etc. What about the reserve food materials in this class? It occurs in the form of Floridian starch. There is a difference. Then, the nature of cell wall. That is, cell wall is made up of mainly the cellulose. Okay. Then, with respect to the number of flagella. The flagella in the class Rhodophytes are totally absent. A very important characteristic feature and a highly advanced character of the class Rhodophytes. So, for example, When the sex organs produce gametes, these gametes are actually non-motile, just like angiosperms. Okay. Then occurrence. Freshwater forms. For example, one plant is there by name Batrachospermum. Batrachospermum is commonly found growing in fresh water. And others are marine forms. They are found growing in salt water. So that's all about this table. If you practice this table and if you are able to remember, you may write all the characteristics of Chlorophytes, Phaeophytes, and even Rhodophytes, at least 7-8 points. So this is a type of notes also for you in a brief manner. Okay, practice this table. Okay, that's all about the algae. Next, we shall pass on to next group of plants, Bryophytes. Bryophytes are advanced plants when compared to algae. Algae are the primitive plants. From algae, the bryophytes evolved in nature. Okay, now we shall see some of the characteristic features of bryophytes. They are as follows. Bryophytes are commonly known as the amphibians of plant kingdom because they live in soil and also require water for sexual reproduction or for reproduction. It means these plants require both soil and water. Hence, these are called amphibians of the plant kingdom. In the animals, frogs are commonly known as amphibians. But in the in the plant kingdom, bryophytes are commonly called amphibious plants or amphibians. A very important term for the main examination. Okay. Now, this bryophyte includes liverworts, mosses, hornworts. These plants are commonly found growing on moist, shady places at hill stations. Sometimes they are found growing on tree trunks. Bryophytes includes liverworts. Liverworts, the plant body is like a liver, and others are called mosses. Mosses. These plants have leaf-like, stem-like structures, and others are commonly known as hornworts. The sporophyte, at the time of maturity, it appears like a horn. What we call horn means ಕೊಂಬು, ಎತ್ತಿನ ಕೊಂಬಿದ್ದಂಗಿರುತ್ತೆ sporophyte. They are commonly found growing on moist soil. Moist soil means where shade is there at hill station. If you visited Uti, Kodaikanal, or even Western Ghats, such a climate is there. The climate is moist and shady. Okay, that's all about the habitat or where they are found growing. We shall see another character. The bryophyte plant body. Plant body means dominant body, or we call thallus. Thallus is a gametophyte. What is this gametophyte? As the name indicates, gametes producing. Phyton means plant. Gametes producing plant body is called gametophyte. The gametophyte of bryophytes or the thallus is always haploid. Haploid means consists of only one set of chromosomes. Normally, in case of man, chromosome number is 2n equals 46. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ n ಅಂದರೆ haploid number, 23 only. Okay. Then, the gametophyte may be prostrate. Prostrate means found growing on the surface of the soil. We call prostrate. Or it may be erect. Erect means straight. It's another character. The plant body or the thallus or the gametophyte is attached to the substratum. Substratum means mainly the soil. With the help of rhizoids. A very important, notable point. If we examine the rhizoids are just like roots of higher plants. These rhizoids are unicellular, a very important characteristic feature, or multicellular in case of mosses. Okay. These unicellular or multicellular rhizoids helps in attachment of thallus to the soil. What is the function of rhizoids? Fixation and also absorption of water and minerals from the soil. Okay, we shall see another character. True roots, true stem, and leaves are totally absent. It means you should not write root, stem, and leaves in case of Bryophyte. Why? Because the roots are totally absent. Instead of roots, we come across what is known as rhizoids. The stem and the leaves are also absent. A primitive type of leaves are present in mosses. Okay. But in the plant Rixia, for example, Mercantia, the plant body is thalloid or thallus-like. Next, how these plants reproduce? That becomes very important factor. The bryophytes or plant body, when reaches maturity, it starts to produce sex organs. That is, it begins to reproduce sexually. Because of this reason, the gametophyte produce the sex organs. The male sex organ is called antheridium. This antheridium, when reaches maturity, produce large number of biciliate sperms. Okay. What about the female sex organ? The female sex organ is called Archegonium. Male sex organ, antheridium. Very important for the examination. Then the female sex organ is called Archegonium. This Archegonium is a flask-shaped body differentiated into upper lid and middle stalk-like part, neck, and the lower part called venter. Within the venter, the egg is present or the ovum is present. So now let us make a brief account. During sexual reproduction, sex organs formed. Male is called antheridium, female is called archegonium. Okay? Then, when the gametophyte reaches maturity, male sex organ produce sperms. When the sperms are released outside, they swim for some time with the help of cilia. Then, through the water current, reaches the female gamete egg. Fertilization takes place. Diploid zygote is formed. Okay, next, what happens to this zygote? The zygote directly develops into another plant body called Sporophyte. We have seen already Gametophyte, but this body is called Sporophyte. The Sporophyte is always dependent on Gametophyte for food. The Sporophyte, when reaches maturity, it produces the capsule. The capsule contains spore mother cells. The spore mother cells undergo reduction division or meiosis and produce haploid spores. The spores are produced after meiosis. The meiosis here we call it as sporic meiosis. The spores germinate into new gametophyte. Okay? And now we shall see the last character of bryophytes. If we examine the life cycle of a bryophyte, for example, Rixia, a liverwort, Mercantia, a liverwort, Funaria, a leafy gametophyte, Anthocerus, thalloid one. If we examine the life cycle of bryophytes, the gametophyte produce sporophyte. So this sporophyte again produce gametophyte. And this we call alternation of generations. A very important characteristic feature of bryophytes also. Presence of alternation of generations. Okay. Now, some common examples we shall see. Rixia, Mercantia. Rixia and Mercantia, thalloid liverworts. Funaria, leafy liverwort. Anthocerus, commonly known as hornwort, a thalloid liverwort. A thalloid one. It is commonly known as hornwort. Why we call hornwort? Because the capsule is like horn. Horn means ettina kombu. Then another plant body, sphagnum. Okay. So remember the characteristic feature, it is for 5 marks. Examples for 1 mark. Okay. Next, in the next class, we shall see the details of liverworts, the details, characteristics of different bryophytes, that is mosses, hornworts, etc. Thank you.